Today's conversation is an addition to a series of discussion forming a part of our maternal mental health campaign. Our topic today is the mom, the mind, and memory. There are various things that affect the maternal mental health of the woman pre and postpartum, and one of this is post-traumatic stress disorder, what we commonly refer to as PTSD. This is not about being upset about something that has happened. It is what occurs when a traumatic event overloads our own nervous system and the body, not the mind, like we usually think, holds on to what has not been completed. The flashbacks, the hypervigilance, the inability to be in certain rooms, to hear certain sounds, the way the past affects our present life. Welcome to Faith Forward, and I'm your host, Deborah Asma. Joining me today are two ladies whose experiences are going to shape the discourse. They are Dr. Sandra Ashon, herbal medical practitioner at Lekma Hospital and CEO of Easy Healthways Consult, and Abigail Abna Isiama, a well-woman care nurse, specialist and experienced midwife at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Ladies, Akwaba to Faith Forward.
Thank you.
You're looking lovely. This what happens when you have a room filled with just ladies, right? I'm sure that will come around and so. We've had this conversation. Abigail, I've been with you for a bit on this campaign, and Sandra, I was very excited when you called and you said, "Look, Deborah, I think I want to talk about my experiences." And these things excite me because it makes me realize that there are conversations out there and we've not created the environment or the platform for people to speak up. And so when we hear other people tell their story, then we realize that I also have something to say. I can contribute to this narrative and there's somebody out there that can benefit from what I'm saying. So thank you so much for being here. And we're going to go into our conversation. And I know some of the stories, but I don't know it all. So we're going to tease it out and have our audience know from when we are coming from, right? So Sandra, you're a doctor. Someone would say that as for doctors, you know everything. So why are you even here to have this conversation with us?
Thank you very much, Deborah, and thank you for this opportunity. In fact, I've been waiting for years to get a platform to share my story. So when I watched your podcast, I'm like, wow, I think this is the platform, and I feel this is the right time to share my postpartum experience. And yes, I'm a doctor, and probably when I experienced the postpartum depression, I didn't know. That is what it was, because probably I've also spoken to a lot of women. Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. So probably it was when I came out of it and I'm like, whoa. Then my husband, relatives were like, okay, this was what you were doing. This was how you were behaving. Then I realized that, oh, okay. So it's really real. So sometimes, you experience it. You might not understand, or you wouldn't know what people are doing. You might even think they are even pretending.
Yeah.
And all that. So yes, and thank you for this platform once again.
Yeah. So but most of us, and I'm sure you echoed this, because research even shows that there's not much data to even show that people come to the hospitals to talk about the fact that they are depressed or something is happening to them. And so when she said that she didn't even know she was going through it, it was after it was said and done that later she was coming to the realization. And I think it's the same story I share. I don't know if it's a bit different from you with regards to the experience of the women that you've even engaged, encountered, or your own, journey as being a nurse.
Thank you. But for me, I think because I actually thought of or had it in mind about mental health way back in the training college. After I did psychiatry, I was just trying to marry mental health with women's health or maternal health since that time. So in my line of duty, I look out for all these things, and when I find them, I just help them out. Or probably when I have the opportunity to meet women who are pregnant, I want to know how they feel. I want to know their expectations. I want to let them know that things may not actually go the way you want them to go. So that when they find themselves in those kind of situations, they'll be like, oh, we are just anticipating. But if you don't know anything about it, like Sandra was saying, I'm sure it's going to be very terrible because, like, you wanted blue and you have pink and then all those things around it. So for me, I think it was just a way back thing. One of our lectures, I think someone shared experience around that time, and I got hold of that piece, and then I've been traveling with it all this while. Yeah.
So Sandra, I want to take your mind back a bit, because we want to look at how some experiences in your life affected your pregnancy or your mental state in your carrying of your baby and delivery and even bringing up the child at an early point. So probably if you would walk us back to, I'm sure the first time you found out you were pregnant, you were excited. Yeah. Or you were not ready for the baby yet.
I was. Okay, so let me start from my first pregnancy. That was around 2015, 2016, thereabouts. So, I got pregnant. Then, unfortunately, I had some complications. And I had my baby through, was a preterm. So, let me say that was the first time I had some kind of, emotional instability with pregnancy. So, then we were admitted, what happens with preterm baby and all that. I took care of the baby. I had a baby for like 10 months. Then one unfortunate day, one of my relatives was feeding the baby. In fact, we were all watching. I remember we were watching one of these series on TV. It was just a normal, happy day. So I went into the kitchen whilst my relative was feeding the baby. And with babies, sometimes when you feed them, like they want to eat, they don't want to eat, they cry a bit. But I realized I didn't hear the sound of my baby, so they called, they were like, I should come. But the baby is not moving, whilst they're feeding. So apparently it's more like a choke or something. So we had to rush the baby to the hospital. So by the time we got to the hospital, the doctor said the baby was gone. So, wow. So, how? You just woke up one day, we were watching them, I think it was Potom. So it wasn't like maybe, I'll say some seed or some nuts.
Was it a boy or a girl?
It was a boy. Oh, so, that was it. We did all the crying, what every mother or every father or every relative would do with this news. We went through the normal thing, buried the baby, and fast forward, baby wasn't coming again. It took a very long while to, let's say 2024, that's like 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
Then I got pregnant. So that is like, oh, finally, it's a dream come true. I was so happy about the pregnancy. I didn't have complications, nothing. That was it. Yes, then, one day I was just there and I went into delivery. Though it wasn't like preterm, but I had the baby a little earlier. That was CS. The first one was normal vaginal delivery. So I had a baby, very beautiful baby girl. Plump. You can see me, so you can imagine. Very beautiful. And now, if I was excited about it, then I don't know what we were on admission. Everything was fine. And all of a sudden, I started feeling funny. Like I wasn't happy. I'm like, what is happening? Anyway, prior to that, during pregnancy, I lost my dad. During when I was almost like my final trimester.
Baby.
Yeah, my second baby. I lost my dad while I was pregnant. So, but I was cool. Yes, I had cried, I've done all that. We were planning for the funeral and everything, but I was very fine. I quite remember I was very fine. So I wouldn't say that, okay, after my baby, maybe I was still mourning my dad. No. So I started feeling funny. Then all of a sudden I was afraid. I said, God, I don't know. I just started feeling my baby was going to die. And that is how it started. And sometimes I was very protective of the baby from relatives. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this all by myself. I don't want any mistakes. So that's how it started. So no support. So, I was discharged. I had a colleague midwife who comes she would teach me how to bath the baby. So I was doing this with my husband, but he would go to work and school. So like I'm virtually alone with the baby. And then that was when the feeling started. And I was always, so I thought maybe sometimes I'll cry, sometimes I'll just be there. And I was like, well, maybe I'm under a spiritual attack. So I remember that I was always praying in tongues. Like my husband would be like, what's going on? And it's like back to back. So I thought there was something was wrong with me, but I was wondering.
You rather thought it was a premonition of something bad going to happen.
Yes. And in fact, it was a terrible experience. I thought I won't come back. I wouldn't be happy for the rest of my life. And then when I had my normal life, I'm quite a workaholic. I was always working, like work, business. So, and I had lost that life too, because I had to take care of baby. It's all part of all the mixed feelings. Then while the baby was growing, when we go to antenatal, I'd be like, oh, the weight is not really coming. Then, because my previous baby, like, I was struggling with weight gain, it was preterms. It takes some time before. So then I became very scared anytime I had to go for antenatal. In fact, I was so scared. So when I go and they also know me because it's my hospital, and then they break, and I would just break down at the antenatal. Like people had to actually come and, calm me down, and people would just be looking, what is happening? What's wrong with her? In fact, at that time I didn't know I was really going through something. So sometimes my husband, I think there was one incident, my sister had to come, my aunties, and we were at the antenatal, and I'm like, they should take the baby home. I don't want to go home with the baby. And like, when my husband was, no, you have to. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Then they had to, at a point, my sister even wanted to, because it was becoming too much for them. But my husband was like, no, you can't do this. I'm like, I can't do this. So, those were the experiences. So what made it worse also was when our baby was like 6 months, after maybe we've done the exclusives and all that, baby has to start feeding. So, usually when you go for antenatal, they'll still give the baby pee more. And the postnatal, they'll ask you to give the baby pee more after the injections. And I'm like, put something in my baby's mouth. So even putting the pee more in her mouth, I'm like, I'm scared maybe when I do that she'll choke. So I had to go and call a neighbor. Anytime I had to do that, I had to go and call my neighbor to come in. So she was like, oh, this one is nothing. And she'll be fine. So then my baby will cry because I didn't give her the pee more. And like she's had the injection, she's in pain. And wow, that was, so then the feeding, then I'm like, okay, now you have to start feeding baby, because she needs to be introduced to solids. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I told her, at this point, I can't do this. Maybe somebody has to help me. So I remember we carried the baby to the auntie the first day. And even, it's Deborah, I said, but I don't know, I didn't like that. The feeling was, I was lost. I was sad. I didn't know. So,
and all this was coming from the experience of having lost the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And the experience was tied to something being put in the baby's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew from probably the doctors, what do you call that medical term now when you look at why the death had occurred?
The prognosis.
The prognosis that it was choking.
Yeah.
So to you, anything that had to go through the throat was a possibility of that happening again.
Yes.
And it was a relative, so obviously it was someone you trusted.
Yes.
So now you also want to do it on your own. You also don't trust yourself to be able to deliver the care that your baby needs.
I never trusted myself.
And you were holding, do you think you were holding yourself accountable for what had happened?
Yes, this is a good question. I think I still blamed myself for the first experience. I felt, what if I was a little careful? What if probably I had done it myself? Like, in fact, I didn't know all these years. I was still blaming myself for it. Because anytime I would hear such stories, I'll cry. Of other people going through that experience, I'll cry, and I'm like, hey, what if my baby was alive by now, and I was very careful, blah blah blah.
Do you think you ever had a frank conversation with your relative and your husband about what had occurred?
Never.
Why do you think you didn't do that? Is it because you didn't want that relative to feel that you were accusing them for killing your child, quote unquote, even though that wasn't what, but a proper conversation to say that this is what has happened, this is how I feel about what has happened?
I think I didn't really look at it like maybe the person killed the child, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, in our African setting,
You
sometimes you
think
have to be
talking
very,
about it would make it seem that that's what you're saying.
sometimes it means like you have to be very careful how, because already the person is also feeling bad about it, and you realize that even when I had my baby, the person was like, you know, when I'm like, oh, I think this, I want to do it all by myself, the person felt very bad about it. So, but no, but we all didn't speak about it that it's because of A, B, and C, and even it wasn't really entirely because of that, but I'm like, okay, let me try and do this all by myself this time around. And you know, our Ghanaian setting, I mean, you really need to be very careful how you address. So maybe if we had very
conversation,
maybe I would heal.
Yeah,
it would help my healing process. So all these years, I realized I had still bottled up some emotions and all that. Yeah. So like the feeding aspect, so I had to send my baby to someone to actually
I'll
feed.
come back to the feeding aspect, but Abigail, I want you to weigh in on this. I'm guessing in your line of experience, you've seen these things play out in different forms, and so I weighed in on the fact that they didn't talk about it as being because of my own experiences. Because for me as well, I didn't really talk to anybody. And I feel when you don't talk to people, the thing is in your head, it's in your heart, it's in your soul. You think that you've done away with it, but it's there, and subconsciously you respond to something because you've not dealt with it. And I agree with what she's saying. In our culture, and it always boils down to that, you are restrained on how to talk about these things. Because one, we all get help from our relatives, from your mom or your closest auntie and all that. And from a young person point, sometimes you can't even communicate when you think that something that is being done shouldn't be done in that way. It will look as though you think you know better. Now come to something where it's an accident, but it's an accident that has caused you pain. I should be able to voice out and say that I am unhappy about this. Could it have been better? Are there any lessons we have learned? You know, how do we deal with some of these things in our setting?
It's a big thing, okay, but for me, I feel that I was just getting her storyline right, and then I feel they should have just talked about it after a period or in the haste of the moment. So even if you had talked about it around that time, the person wouldn't have been so hurt, because the person would also kind of feel like it's because of the situation. And I think even today, if the person was here, I'm sure the person was also expecting that
you would talk
about it. Okay, but notwithstanding, I wasn't looking at her issues that had happened. I don't know if the person also was young like here. Had the person, stopped delivery, or was the person going to expect a child later in future? How was the person going to take her own line of the story? I mean, when you said we were waiting for the 8 years, did the person deliver during that 8 years? Yeah, you understand?
Yeah, I think that it was an adult.
Oh, it's an adult.
It's an adult. It's an adult.
Okay.
But focusing on her,
because
I'm wondering in the hospital when it happened, right? Why isn't it part of our practice that when such trauma occurs, the hospital itself recommends counseling or therapy?
Okay, I don't know for every hospital, but for where I work, we talk about it.
Which is
Kolbu Teaching Hospital. We have clinical psychologists, myself, some of the obstetricians, we have coined that as another area of interest, and we talk about it. Even when you come for antenatal, maybe you have been referred and you have lost the baby in utero, like in the uterus. We call it IUFD, intrauterine fetal demise. We try to, or personally, I try to get yourself, your husband or your partner, any person you are comfortable with to be around. We talk about it even before the delivery of the dead fetus. So that, although it's not a good thing, but you have an idea. And then we're able to prep your mind. So how is it going to be like, Deborah, if you don't get your baby alive, what are you going to do? Then the person like, I'll kill myself. Oh, it's God that gave, so if I don't get it, or blah blah blah. So depending on the answer you give, then we take it up from there. Depending on those answers, then I'll know that at this point I have to bring in the clinical psychologist, maybe the psychiatrist, even before you.
Yeah, so that they are active engagement. Sandra, did you get that?
No, at that time,
you didn't.
At that time, the way everything happened. No, it happened where we couldn't really get like a clinic. We're looking over, it's an emergency, so we're looking at the available clinic. It's a small clinic, so they pronounced the over there. It wasn't like a BID brought in that thing sort of. So they asked us to go to Kolibu. By then, I think my people realized it had happened already, so they were like, oh, okay, I should stay behind. They didn't want to know how everything happened.
Trying to manage
so
the
they
situation.
took the lead and they were like, oh, baby has been referred to Kolibu. But it had already happened, but they didn't want to just... So I followed up with my dad by then to Kolibu, and that was where so by then it had BID, like... Yeah. So they didn't have the time to actually, let me see...
But afterwards,
or something.
There weren't any
Frankly, afterwards, maybe because I also work in a hospital, afterwards...
You took it for granted.
Like, it's normal, like I can sort myself out. I mean, we looked at how we would bury the baby.
So... Okay, sorry. In your second delivery, right, at which point did you realize that there was a problem?
You never
realized there was a problem?
I never realized during pregnancy.
How long did it take for you, whether it was during the process or after the process, for you to realize that I have had this problem?
Okay, maybe after delivery, I would say I spent like 4 days. So I think when I got home, and I was alone, like, so let's say just like a week after.
That's when you
delivery,
realized that.
Yes, then I realized, oh, okay, so this is what is happening. Yeah.
Abigail, for the mothers that you deal with that have these kind of trauma, whether they are able to deliver again or they are not, what is usually the recommended process for support with even the people around them, not just the hospital? Because the hospital can do their bit, but you come home and you have to deal with your husband, yourself, your family. What do we recommend should be, the way of engagement?
So it's just support. So we, in our African setting, let me take us back. For Sandras, what they will tell you is, when you lose your child, you don't cry, don't wear black, you don't have to mourn for
I've heard it before, it's the first child. And so you don't want it to look like you are. Yeah.
You will not get pregnant again and all that.
Did you have that?
And yes, I did. Yes. I tried not to mourn, like I tried, because that was what they like. If
and mourning is the natural process.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have also helped my healing. So like, I think when it happened, within like a week, 2 weeks, I was back to the office. And my colleagues were like, are you sure you're good? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Like, hey, life goes on. Like, I was playing hardcore. Like, I'm okay. But little did I know that, I was still going through some form of trauma.
If you're not able to grieve, okay, it will just come back. You can't pretend that everything is fine. So I always tell my clients that, and their partners, especially the men, that it is okay to grieve. If there's something joyful, everybody is happy around. So why is it that in Africa, if there's something that you're supposed to show that you are sad, especially for the men, they'll tell you that as a man, you don't have to cry, you don't have to grieve. They go through a lot, because sometimes in my line of practice, you have clients coming back to you it even affects their intimacy.
Yeah.
Okay, because like for what again? You understand? Or probably they were going through stages of getting pregnant. They have gone through a lot to have that child, and then now they lose it. And because he's a man, he's not even supposed to grieve, or because it's your first loss, you are not supposed to grieve and all that. And then it will come back. Like, I mean, you can't
cheat nature.
yeah, that is nature. It will come back, and I just get her. So I just try to take my patient's history and let them know at the time. So if she was my patient at the time, around getting to 6 months, we'll start talking about it. We'll engage the clinical psychologist. If you lose your pregnancy, I mean at 5 months, you lose another one at 4 months. I mean, when you get pregnant again and it's about 4 months,
you think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It will come. It doesn't mean that, and to my Christian family, it doesn't mean that you don't have faith or you have
Which
lost
is
your
it's a
faith.
very important statement that you're making here. Sometimes we equate grieving to an absence of faith and an absence of trust in the God that we serve. But I don't think that is the case at all. Because for me, I believe, honestly, it's an acknowledgement of a challenge, a physical, emotional challenge you're facing. And if we go back to the Bible, when Christ was weeping in the Garden of Gethsemane, it was not because he didn't trust God. Even on the cross, when he said, Father, why have you forsaken me? It was not because of a lack of trust. It was an acknowledgement of a happening that there was distance from himself and God, that I am facing a challenge. Lamentations is about that. And so I think even from the church's point, as people of faith, there has to be a way where leaders and our spiritual heads encourage and sensitize the natural process of grieving and letting us know that it is okay. David wailed, but he still came back to his God.
Yeah.
Christ wailed, but he knew who his father was. So why can't we do the same? Why is it that it's like, we need GD? And I saw my mom lose our last child, my last sibling. I was young then, and she lost the baby from typhoid. Oh, no, is it typhoid? No, it's not typhoid. No, that thing that they jaundice.
Oh, okay.
But I saw her weep. And I saw her mourn. And so I knew that these things can happen. And I knew that it was okay. And we gave her room to weep and mourn. You understand? So I think it's a very important point that we made here, that we should allow women to grieve and the men to grieve, because they've all been through it, But Sandra, in your instance, how was your communication with your husband like on this? Did you guys also talk about it, or you kind of like brushed it aside as well?
Anytime there's a loss, there's that denial stage, there's that you want to blame somebody for it, you want to accept, like it's a cycle. So in one moment I'm okay, in the other moment, why did you do this? In another moment, you should have been careful. So for him, it's more like, you should have been careful. Why did this happen? Like there was that blame because he wasn't there when the thing happened. So because prior to that, he was like, okay, Ghanaians, when you're feeding the baby, sometimes you want to force the baby to eat. There's that tendency. The baby is not eating. So at that point, he was like, why was the baby being forced? So it wasn't easy. Yes, it wasn't easy for him because, he was sort of thinking maybe the baby was forced or that kind of thing. So it wasn't easy. But in our case, I think we met some key people, like people we really respected, who managed to counsel us on it. So we understood each other.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was very stressful within that 8 years as well. Now you've had to deal with this 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, so you have your baby, you've come home, you realize that I have a problem. I'm sad. I'm anxious. In my case, I was just crying for no reason. For me, I didn't even know what was wrong. all I know is I have my baby is lying there, and I'm just wailing and weeping. But there is a reason for it. Did you think to want to talk to somebody about this? If not, why?
I don't know. I think I didn't really talk about, maybe because people feel,
You
they
should
say,
be
see, Sandra,
okay.
they feel, oh, are you are your own doctor. Sometimes I even have clinical psychologists in the hospital. They're like, but doc, you'll be fine. But like maybe I didn't really also open up to them, like, this is what
So
I'm
you think the
really.
demand was on you to be strong? Everybody expects you
Yeah,
to be strong
everybody expects
anyway.
you
So
to, and you also expect to be
yourself
strong
to be
because people
strong.
see you as a strong person. So people expect that, okay, you have to be strong.
Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, that kind of thing. So I mean, I didn't really
Abigail,
get that
this
help.
thing, this thing about the value of the woman is in her strength. We need to see how to disabuse
Yeah.
our minds on that. Recently I was in a program, and before the just past Mother's Day, and they were talking about how mothers struggle, and one of the daughters got up to say thank you to her mom, and how when she keeps things late, and in the evening her mom will be running around trying to get a solution for it, and how she'll wake up in the morning and do this. Like, we were extolling the struggles of motherhood as a representation
Of a
of
good
what
mother.
it means to be a good mother.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting down and listening. And because of this campaign that we've been doing, I was telling myself, why? Why should this be the description? How I stayed up and I dealt with it myself. And why is it that our value is in our struggle?
And Deborah, let me come in. So for me, right from CS to home, like it's just been me, like me and my husband. So like it's just been me. Like I've done it right from CS, coming home. I mean, trying to heal, trying to do everything. Like probably till now, like no help. And
Yeah.
sometimes yes, you want to play the hero and like, oh okay, I did it. But like you are saying, to what end?
Yeah.
So recently I was telling my husband, I need help.
Yeah.
I need a help. No, you see, I know you help me when you're around, you're able to do this with me, but I think I need help. So that I can also have that kind of my life. I mean, that's it. Because for me, at a point, I didn't want to. I'm like, I just want to do this just for me and my baby. I'm scared to hand over my baby to somebody else.
Anybody.
And what
Yes.
you're going to hand that
And
over?
truth is, so I've tried not to go. In fact, even if I'm going to certain places, I'll tag my baby along. Recently, I had some talks with some staff of American Embassy, and like my baby was just crawling. I mean, when I had to keep her in an office somewhere, and she was playing.
Because
Crawling. I'm like,
trust
if I
is
had
a problem
somebody,
now.
I could have just left this baby to be at home with someone.
But
And,
do you think you are in a place where you can leave your baby comfortably with
yes,
anyone? You are
yes.
at
And
that
in
place
fact,
now.
I traveled to Kumasi. That's the first time I've actually left. Just when you asked me for, I'm like, okay, I'm traveling.
Just recently, yeah.
Yes, I came yesterday. So for the first time, I left my baby for like 5 days with the father. Even the dad, I'm like, can I not?
How did it feel?
Yes, and when I came back, she's so happy. I mean, she's happy when she saw me. Everything was fine. So I asked the dad. I mean, I hope there was no. I was like, no, everything was fine. I'm like, oh, okay. Then now I feel like I can leave my baby, but I think I still need help.
Yeah.
I still need help.
And then
Because I didn't want my baby. I had relatives. I could have said, okay, let my baby go to my mom or my auntie or to my husband's family. But I still need help on that so that I can trust people with.
Yeah, but at least you have taken a very good step of even saying it in your mind.
And if you're talking
Or
about
talking
it,
about
is this
it
the first
now.
time you're talking about
This is the
this
first
thing?
time. This is the first
So
time.
even talking about it, that I think I need a help. That one is a very good step. That means that you are coming out of it. Okay, for you to now know that I need help. Okay, so definitely, I thought that problems are not going to stop because you had one. As we are talking now, I hope that hundreds and thousands of women are going through what we are talking about now across the country, in Africa, and across the world. And then it's not going to stop because we are talking about it today. But we have to find solutions to our problems. And like you were asking, should the struggles of women be estimated that they are good? I don't think it's supposed to be so. Because we go through a lot, especially when you're Christian. I don't know with other faiths, but when you're Christian, as a woman, you have to even protect your family, you have to protect your spouse. Probably your spouse is not even paying kids' school fees. You are the one who had to pay fees. You are the one who have to find money for feeding. You are the one, and you have to keep quiet, be there, go through the struggles to make everybody look like everything is okay. And then sometimes, the time you realize that it's not okay, then you would have been like, it's either you not be able to take care of yourself well, because the time you have to take care of yourself, you have to take care of other people, so that you can be put there as a good mother. You understand? So I think it is the culture, the faith is not actually helping us in these areas of mental health, because even it is difficult for people to even say that I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Probably you are married to a pastor of a church, a very renowned church, and this man is all over the place. He's not paying fees, he's not paying rent, he's not taking care of kids, he's not bringing anything to the house. You have to make sure
and
that...
sometimes you're even doing everything, but you, the woman, know you have a problem.
Yes.
But talking about the problem, it blemishes the faith.
Yes, I have this client who said, I don't even feel like I'm a married woman because I don't wear my rings anymore. And they asked me at church, and I kind of give excuses. She's a cook, so she's like, oh, sometimes things get into the rings and blah, blah. But in confidence, she was just telling me as my clients that, see, Auntie Abna, this is my problem. I feel that although I am married, everybody sees I'm married, in a family with my husband, but I see myself as a single mother.
You're alone.
I'm alone. So I wish that I can just get out of this, but my faith does not allow me. So I had to then give it to a clinical psychologist, and we have to escalate it to a psychiatrist, because she, at a point, even feels that, should I just kill this man? You understand? Yeah. So that I know that I'm alone. And if we are given the opportunity to talk about it, like you were saying, not to let it look like, because I am struggling, I'll be weighed as a
and
good
talking
mother.
Is not complaint.
Yes.
Isn't it? And this
but
is
in
what
Africa, talking is complaining.
Yeah.
Even when
But
it hurts.
that's the change and that's what I like about our generation and the generation that is coming after us. Our determination to recognize the patterns that has not worked in the past, and our quest to bring a change. We might not do it the right way, but we are starting it.
Yeah.
And that's the legacy I feel we should leave for our children. That you don't have to... There are times where struggles and challenges are a part of our faith. That is so true. And you should wear them as a badge of honor and not feel ashamed about it. But not from the point of keeping silent to the detriment of your own growth, health. That I don't agree to it. And I dare say that probably you also didn't talk about it because you felt everybody says that, oh, that's all bad, and you can do it, and you are not the first one.
Of course.
People have had 3 pass, 4 pass.
Yeah.
It's just one. Why are you exaggerating it?
And even the fact that you work in a hospital as a medical,
but you should know these things.
And you know, as you are a health worker like me, sometimes you go through certain health challenges. Even pregnancy, let me just say this. I realize most of our staff usually face a lot of pregnancy-related challenges because people assume that, you should know when you are pregnant, through delivery, taking care of your child. I can bet you I have some colleagues who have never visited the antenatal, like for even pregnancy school.
Because they should know.
We've been taught, this. But that feeling like, okay, I'm also a patient who is pregnant and I need to attend the pregnancy school.
You don't do that.
And so there's that probability that you might miss
and
some key
things,
knowledge.
yeah.
Though probably you know. So sometimes even with the health workers, you might miss a few things because maybe you know this. But if you're able to go through the right protocol, I'm sure things will have pregnancies and child deliveries and all that smoothly.
How has this experience shaped your dealings with other women?
Oh, in fact, it's really opened my eyes, and I've become more sensitive to women who are pregnant and after they've had delivery. Because where I work, I have patients who come. Maybe they will come with. I've seen patients. Maybe they have twins, they have triplets, or they come and they have like 3 kids. And when they come, maybe they are hypertensive, diabetic. They are struggling with their diets. So now when I'm counseling them or I'm speaking to them about how to manage, I'm very passionate and sensitive about the motherhood aspect of their lives. Initially when they come, why are you not taking your medications? And why, there's that element of you want to, but now, I've been there, so I now understand. So recently I had a client, she came and she had like 3 kids. One was at the back, like 6 months, one was like 2 years, the other was 4 years. And her BPs were like almost in the 200s.
Wow.
And then she came, and I'm like, oh, mommy, I didn't obi any fee. Who is helping you? Said, me nkwa. Then I realized, no, this woman really needs help. So immediately I asked her to call the husband. I want to speak to the husband on the phone. So and she looked even older than her age. So after trying to address the stress that she's going through, it wasn't even about the medications.
Yeah.
But the stress and all that. So I gave her 2 weeks review. When she came back, I couldn't recognize her. She was looking younger, fine. She didn't come with the other 2 kids. She said, oh, has been managed to get her help. So now I'm fine. The BPs have dropped. And that's it.
So, but you see, and Abigail, this takes me to the campaign we are doing with the hospitals and what we are trying to draw their attention to. You are showing us that before this experience, it was just about the medical process.
Yes.
I take your BP, you have medications to take. Why are you not taking your medications? You are being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means for this? And we go on and on and on. But your experience has taught you to look beyond what is happening to the root cause.
Yeah.
And realize that sometimes what we are calling negligence is born from the mental state of the person because of what they are going through.
Yes.
And for women, a lot of it rests on the family.
Yes.
The children they are taking care of, the home they are taking care of, the stress they are even carrying. Probably this mother even has post-traumatic stress that she's not even talking about.
Yes. Most of them. In fact, Deborah, you guys are doing a good work because you have no idea the number of women going through, depression. You have no idea. If they are to open up, so especially from the family, the marriage aspect, the stress, and it's if they are carrying all the burden from finances to emotional to kids. It's terrible. So I believe you guys are doing a very good work, and it will help save a lot of women because most lives that are being lost is as a result of some of these emotional and mental issues as compared to probably the physical ones that we see.
And you see from her feedback, she didn't have to give them new medication. She had to show interest in her mental state. And that caused all the transformation.
Around. And then you see, Deborah, the exciting or the painful aspect is even the system doesn't see that aspect of health. The provision as working. I remember in my experience from the college as a specialist, I just geared into something of caring for the pregnant women who had to stay long in the hospital before delivery. Probably because they have cervical incompetency, probably because they have any condition that has to keep them there. So for me, my concern was not really about are you taking your medication? Have you done your labs? Have you done this? But my concern was about, look at you now, Deborah, you get pregnant and you are 5 months and you go to the hospital and your doctor is like, we have to admit you till delivery. You have your plan. I mean, the client has a plan. She has a home. She just got up to come for a clinic. And in her plan, in her itinerary, I'm going to the hospital and come back home. You get there and you have to be not just being admitted for a day or 2 or hours, but you are going to stay till you deliver. Even giving out this information, I think you even need a clinical psychologist at the point of information, because so how is she going to manage her life? What if the person sells something that can spoil tomorrow or the next? How is the person going to manage? Are we going to compare? Are we going to invite?
We shouldn't just, do you know what will happen if you don't come, and we just push them in and...
So the person is there. You want the person to be there, right? The person will be on the bed, but the person is not in the hospital. The person is not there. She's just physically occupying a bed, but her emotions, her thinking, her everything.
And that also affects the health
and
care
you are even
receiving.
Whatever we want to do, we are not achieving. So that is the point it was getting to. You give medications, you come back and check the BPs and they are still high, because
there's so much more
going on beyond your medication.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that in our line of health, carrying out our duties, it's going to take time. But things are very difficult to change. Like, people accepting change is a big deal.
But it started. That's why I'm very excited that the government has launched the maternal health policy. I mean, it doesn't mean that transformation has happened, but it shows that there is a certain awareness and commitment to bring that change. And that is what all of us can help support. And we don't need to leave it to the health practitioners alone. Our homes. How do we sensitize our husbands, our brothers, our sons to be able to have these conversations and support their wives? Lysandra, one question. How did you move from the anxiety and fear of feeding your child to now realizing that I need to do this? What did it for you?
Before I started feeding my child, I had to first. I think my husband took me to one of his relatives. So she fed the child. Like, oh, it's nothing, just 2 spoons, 3 spoons, a little bit of. So in fact, it wasn't easy. So like anytime I would feed the baby, I'm like, oh God, don't let anything happen to my baby. So like that's stress. Then I just had to. I also didn't have help. Sometimes my neighbor will come. I had a neighbor who, she's a seamstress, just opposite to our gate. So I just call, oh, auntie, can you come around? And she'll come feed the baby.
So she knew what had happened.
Yeah,
so she was able to
opened up a bit to her that. Okay. I think she realized it. So she's a mother, so she realized. So she's like, oh, anytime I need help, once I call, she'll come. So she'll come and feed the baby and goes. And what also helped was with that I could trust the school. I took my baby to school on time because I had to start work. So I wasn't really feeding the baby so I make sure everything is done
before you pick her up
in the school. So I even pick her up late, which sometimes is even intentional. It's all part of the time I was going through. Yeah. So by the time I'll pick her, we'll come home, maybe I'll just do them. She's well fed and I'll just do the milk and a little bit. So I did that for some months. So I realized, now baby she's very active, she's all over. Then I had to just,
go through the process.
So the school also helped
played a major role.
Yeah, funny enough, I never really spoke to the teachers about. They didn't know what I was really going through. But always feeding. So I'm like, when I go my own feed her, I'll make sure you do all the feeding before I pick her. But now we've grown past it. Yeah. So now I'm able to. Yeah. So it's just gradually, and I think I was getting better when I started going to work, interacting with friends. Like life had to come back to its normal state. And gradually the emotions, I was able to detoxify. Yeah. The bad emotions.
But I'm happy that you say that you still think you need some help.
Yeah.
So we are guessing you're going to get like a clinical psychologist or someone to talk to and work your way out of this. That's and you have a daughter?
Yes. It's a daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Before we wrap up on our segment today, there's a woman there who's lost a child and probably lost the baby in her womb. There's also a woman who carried the baby, like you in your case, and has lost the baby not just through feeding. Sometimes I hear babies just die in their cot for no reason at all. And they would probably even the one that accidentally did something and it affected the baby. There are various things that are happening. These women deep down want other children, but they are scared. Probably their spouses are even scared, and they have not even talked to themselves to deal with the blame, to get over it, and now come to a place of healing and acceptance. What would you say to this woman, Sandra?
Okay. First of all, I would say, like, even from what I've learned here, that you need help. And you need to speak to somebody about it. I mean, whether a family friend or a clinical psychologist. And then one thing God doesn't give up on us. I don't know your faith, but you need to believe in God. You need to trust in God. You need to embrace the fact that it is the Holy Spirit that comforts. So just have faith and believe that God can do it again, and add prayer to it. I don't know. I can't explain the feeling you are going through, but I have been through it, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but and you cannot do it on your own. Open up to your spouse. I mean, your spouse is the best person who can help you. Yes, relatives are there, but talk to your husband about it. That, honey, I need help. Maybe he also needs help. You need unity to be able to do this. This is not the time to blame each other. This is not the time to, try to seek help. Maybe for the men, maybe you want to seek help with another woman. Try and come together as a couple. And I believe that you'll be able to go through it. And this too shall pass. And I can't believe I once had a challenge like that. And today here I am. I have a beautiful girl and I'm good to go.
Thank you, Sandra. Abigail, I don't know if you want to weigh in.
Uh, for me, I would just say that it is okay to talk about however you feel. You have to have that little bit of strength for yourself, for your partner, for your family. That this is what I'm going through, and even for our pregnant women, those who are expecting to get pregnant, and the area of people that sometimes they are cut off is the people who are not yet even married or they are pregnant. I have a colleague, a junior colleague at work. One day she just came to me and she was like, I don't think I even want to have a child. I wish I can do surrogacy or maybe go and adapt. Because sometimes when she looks at where we work, Kolebu is a referral center, so all kinds of conditions come there. And working at the obstetric emergency unit, that is like, the reception for all the cases coming. And for her, looking at how things go, she's just scared that, should I even get pregnant? How is the pregnancy going to look like? How is it going to end? How am I going to... So even now that she's not even yet there, she's already, so I just told her that she needs to go to EAP. We have a department in Kolebu where they talk about if you want to talk to somebody. So I'll do a little, go to EAP, go and see a clinical psychologist, talk about it, and I'm sure we are going to be fine. I mean, I've lost a child too, and I was like, I was a doctor, I was the nurse, I was everything for that child. And then it didn't look, at a point, I was also thanking God because I might have lost my life around that same time. But at least God saved me, I lost the child. I just put myself together. And for me, people who were not there to mourn with me on the day, by the next day, it didn't look like I had lost my child. I just put myself together. And we also have to know that we have different people people take every issue differently because of our temperament.
Yeah.
So some people can look at something and keep quiet and move on. Others will see something and cannot stand it at all. Others can also pretend I am fine because of sometimes our faith, our environment, how people see you. So like today's Deborah, that's maybe you've lost something today and you're all over the place. Everybody will be like, but Deborah, like, you are somebody like,
we
So
looked
people-
up to
People are not even ready to see you in that way. So
your
I would just
vulnerability.
want to tell everybody that whether you're a man, you're a woman, you are a young adult, you are married, you are in your reproductive years, anytime you are going through something, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Seek for help, because help is right there. And then it's going to be better for you to actually seek for help rather than covering up, shielding. You enter the shower, you cry, you come out, smile, everybody thinks you're okay, and then it puts a lot of mental toll on you. And a lot of people don't move on after they lose.
Yeah.
They don't want the marriage, they don't want to see their partners. If the person that was involved is a hospital, I have a client that says she cannot drive in front of Kolibo again. You live in Dansoman, you work in Accra. So, I mean, who are you going to pass? Will you go back and go through Kaleshi and drive along because of the trauma? Okay, so I think that if you realize it, talk about it. And then our partners and our family should also be ready to listen to us. You can be ready to talk about it.
And there's
Meaning
nobody
there
there to
should be
listen.
somebody there to listen. But if you are talking and it looks like there's nobody there to listen, like we're talking about motherhood, people feel that it is normal. After you have to go through it. People have lost 6, 5 pregnancies. You lose one and you're all over the place. No. We need all of you to come. Our pastors, our support system, they have to be there for everybody so that it will help us. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. And another time we get the opportunity, I think we have to just move into churches doing their programs. People have to know what is actually happening.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed that you can host, you can just put it on your line. I want to meet 20 women or 30 women who have gone through this. And by the time you get downstairs, there are 50 waiting for you.
Yeah.
There are lots of us going through a lot of struggles. But depending on how you carry yourself, you may lose it. Some people escalate from PTSDs and normal depressions. They go into anxiety. They go into now escalating to proper psychiatric conditions, and they are not able to come back. And it's very sad that you know the person this way, and just because of one child, and a lot of things happen. So my prayer is that the church should be there to support the environment, our families, our partners. We should just put our hands together and move on as a family, as you're supposed to do. And then, iron sharpened iron will just be moving alongside, and we'll all smile at the end of the day.
Thank you. It's been an interesting episode of Faith Forward today. One that is full of lessons, encouragement, and also one that helps us to face the realities of what it means to be a mother. And we get to appreciate, I appreciate even more now when we see that a mother is not just the one who has a child. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes, even for the one who is preparing to have a baby. For people of faith, we need to realize that our faith is not an absence of struggle. And an acknowledgement of struggle and challenges is not also an absence of faith. It is a realization of a present situation that needs dealing with. And when it comes to maternal mental health, we cannot talk about it enough. My guests are in the health profession. They know, they've heard, but experience is always different. So we encourage our women and our partners, men and female who are in the health profession, to seek help when it's needed, to go through the classes, the engagement, the clinical conversations. You are not above it. We are first human before we are our profession. And for any woman that is out there, any man that is out there, that is witness to some of the things that we've talked about in today's Faith Forward podcast, please reach out to your other partner, hold hands, and have conversations and seek help as it's needed. We are all in this together. Mine experience, your experience together makes the community that we are in. And let's demand for better for ourselves, for our partners, and for our children. A heartfelt thank you to our sponsors, Yogi Yogurt. You can have various flavors: beetroot, vanilla, strawberry, a healthy snack for a healthy body. And thank you to Glam Secret for my makeup, my costume, and for my hair. Until I see you again in our next episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Share the links to your friends, your community, and church at home and at your workplaces. Until the next episode, keep moving forward in faith.